Hey guys, we're back in the shop today working on Murray 22 inch 625. We got this thing for free. It needs a carb clean. There was like a little mouse nests up here. You know, the shroud goes over, but you can see there's little tufts of fur and whatnot. So we're just ripping this thing apart. Gonna take the carb off. You can see there's all kinds of shit onto it. And do a carb clean, replace the fuel line. That fuel line's pretty cracked. Back wheels were fucked. The guy we picked it up off of said, you know, he just threw whatever wheel he could on, and the hole with the bushing didn't match the size of the axle shaft, so we're gonna put 2 new wheels onto it. The back flapper thing is busted off, so we got another one. This is the nice thing about hoarding shit, boys, is, you know, we got one off of a deck that we scrapped, right? There was a rusty deck that we never ended up using, or we scrapped it because it probably had holes into it. We could just take this and bolt it or rig it up so that this thing's got it. This is self-propelled. The front tires are basically bald. We don't have much tread left, so we can change those tires too. We got all sorts of tires. And yeah, for free. I mean, you know, you put half an hour of labor into it and you could sell this thing for, you know, 85 bucks. So I'll come back to you once I get this carb off. Just out here working in the garage. It's a rainy day, not much going on, just tinkering today. And I forgot to tell you guys, we ended up getting this lawn boy. Remember that thing? We painted that up, fucking thing works awesome now. She runs, but it revs real high, so I gotta just adjust the governor spring. But yeah, I'm just out here in the shed, just looking for some tires too. The ones we got are bald. And I just wanted to point out on these air boxes on the Murrays, I think they're MTD. They have these primers that go through, force air all the way through here, and then once it gets here, it goes into the carburetor. Goes into the hole there. Well, on these, if you tear your gasket, you need to get an original gasket. I've tried making those before, and it just doesn't work because it doesn't create the seal. They have these little locating pins here, and it fits in nice. But yeah, you always need to replace those gaskets or else your primer won't work. And this thing, by the way, is fucking filthy. I can't even get the sediment bowl off. I took that off. That's loose, and so I'm gonna have to let it soak in some hot water, try and soften that thing up and loosen it up. But yeah, definitely gonna need a carb clean. The other thing that I wanted to show you guys was we ended up picking up a brute 4.5 horsepower engine for I think we paid 20 bucks. It come with a deck and all kinds of parts and shit onto it. The engine was good, but the deck was fucked. We ended up putting this engine onto, remember this old green deck that we had, but it doesn't quite fit. But with a different blade or a different blade adapter, it should work. Yeah, so if you could see it come off of self-propelled, so it's got the pulley on the bottom. But, you know, we got all kinds of these blade adapters that you know, you put in, and then you bolt the blade to the bottom of this. So I think, you know, that would go something like that, and your blade goes down here, so you can, you know, you could switch these around, use different blade adapters, and then use just a different length bolt, and it's all the same shit. As long as your blade clears the deck, you're good, boys. And here's the deck that it come off of. So, you know, we stole some parts off of it, but what a shitty day, boys. It's January 3rd today. Still no snow. Unbelievable. We got like 2 days of snow there and it all melted, and there's Plowy sitting there. Fuck. Another year, boys. Another fucking year. This thing, we got to do belts on it. Drive belts. That'll be interesting. It's a lot of pulleys on that thing underneath, but stupid design how they... these things, they used to roll over because those wheels they turn like 90 degrees. Like, you know, if you go to turn and it turns 90 degrees, these things used to flip because you're so top heavy, right? But yeah, anyways, let's get this carburetor and this shit cleaned up. We'll throw that thing back together and maybe put some oil into it, see if she fires. Well, boys, we got this all cleaned up, came out nice. But it's not often that this happens. As you can see, we got that out. I'm gonna have to go in there and just pry that off. She's not coming off, boys. She seized. Okay, I'm gonna be using a little flathead. We're gonna go in here right about there, and we're just gonna pry like that because we don't want to bend that, right? But now we should be able to maybe get on this side as well. Yeah, that's it. That's it, boys. Oh yeah, look at gasket. Got glued. So, you know what could have happened here? Buddy's bowl could have leaked because he had instead of, like, let's say you rebuild this carb, you don't want to change your sediment bowl gasket, which is this right here, you know. What ends up happening is people put some like silicone or some glue onto them, and then they just stick the bowl onto the carb, screw that down as tight as they can, they call it a day. But glad we got that off, so now I can take this back in, finish cleaning this out, blast some hot water through there, hit it with the compressor, and then it should be good. Like, unbelievable. They had 2 tie straps holding it onto the gas tank, and you guys can see this thing is just completely dickered. So we'll replace that too. One of the worst fuel lines I've ever seen. Well, it's snowing, but this isn't the kind of snow that we need, boys. We need the big, heavy, wet stuff. The big, fluffy stuff. Not this fucking... It's like dandruff, boys. It's no good. No good. We got to get Plowy out. But at least we're getting something. Well, boys, we're in the shed looking for parts, and it's fucking freezing out here. Can you see this? Oh yeah. It's winter times. Well, boys, we got this back together. We ended up changing the rear wheels out because they were wobbling. The wheels that were on didn't fit the size of the axle, so now we got these with a washer, and turns out a lot better. A little bit of black spray paint onto her, make it look pretty good. The only cost we have into this so far is a new air filter and a little bit of oil. We ended up using a used RJ 19LM spark plug, and we checked the belt. Everything's good. It's got a clean carb on it now. I did that, and we're just gonna lift it down and take it outside and fire it up, see if she runs. So we took this outside. It fired up right away after we had to prime it a couple times, but it's just not revving as high as we'd like to. Now this is your throttle linkage right here, and to adjust this so that it revs a little higher, we want a little more tension on this spring, which you can see it's kind of loose right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to adjust the tension on this spring by pulling this back a little bit. Now you can see that people have already been in here and bent that up and bent this up. What this is supposed to be is just a little tab where you adjust this, and then you bend a piece over this this front here, and it locks it into position. But as you can see, this one's kind of mangled a bit, but it'll work. That's all that it was, boys. Just a little governor adjustment. Well, guys, she runs good now. We just had to do a little governor adjustment, and I didn't do a video of it before, but basically we're just moving this, right, to give you more tension on your spring so that it pulls your throttle a little bit more, and that's it. So this was back here a little bit, like I'm gonna say right about there. So it was running at a lower RPM. So just by pulling that out a little bit, bending that tab down and setting that into place, you know, it runs the way it's supposed to now. I checked the drive, the front drive, and it, you know, spun the tires and did what it's supposed to do. So I'll get the little plastic piece back onto there, and then, but as you guys can see, it's ready to go. The only real money that we had into it was a brand new air filter that we put in, and a little bit of oil, a little bit of gas. Like I said, we reused RJ19LM spark plug. We save old tires off of like put it this way, boys, you see this deck here is scrap, but you know, these tires, you know, that one's pretty bald, this one's still got some bite into it. We didn't keep these, but we took the wheels, the back wheels off of this one, put it onto that one, and yeah, now you got a good lawnmower that we can, you know, it's self-propelled, so nobody's got to push it in the summer, and we could sell this thing for like $100. Well, boys, there she is, all done. And we got a brand new dust stopper bagging system. Look at that. So it's like I don't know, it's got some kind of spray onto it that keeps the dust inside, but got a brand new bag onto it. See, that's the thing about hoarding stuff, right? We had a guy that came and I think sometime last year or 2 years ago give us a Murray with a blown out deck, and he had a brand new bag, I think, sitting there, and we ended up, you know, you keep that stuff. And like I was saying, stuff like wheels and stuff, you know, like literally we have maybe $5 or $10 into this thing, and we could sell this for, oh, I don't know, $100, $125. But you know, I'd like to replace the front tires. Maybe in the springtime we will, because like this one's just fucking, they're slicks, boys, right? We're hitting the drag strips, but yeah, you know, not bad. So we'll put this thing away, store it in the shed so it's out of the elements, and you know, when springtime rolls around, we'll throw her up on Kijiji, and yeah, that's it, boys. You know, Eliminator Performance. Do shit like this all the time, so if you enjoyed the video, hit like, subscribe, and I try to upload weekly. Thanks, guys.